Yo, we're back. We're back. How's everybody doing? It was Stephanie Griffith. Nice in and early. The early bird catches the worm, as it is. Except we've got no worms around here. We're worm free. This is a good thing. It's a good thing that we're worm free. But let's uh, let's talk. Let's talk business. Business. It's only Tuesday, guys. It's only Tuesday. And it feels like we've had probably the amount of transfer stories that this time last summer we would have had in the span of maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3 weeks. So things are moving, absolutely moving. So yes, we are live again, and plenty to discuss in this show tonight. So yeah, I'll go quickly run through the agenda, the list that I've got of some talking points that we're going to go through. Of course, as the title suggests, delict, green delight, because it's spelt similarly, Never mind. But yeah, we got a green light allegedly with the delict player and agent side for United to go make the approach and signing. Xerxes, apparently the agent with the exponential agent fees, has taken a stance and said, I'm happy with the offer that I've been presented. Then yeah, it's looking like we are very, very close to completing that deal as well. Ugarte, of course, talks still progressing with that. It was moving quite quick, all things considered, but there is an emerging threat. Once again, this year's German Chelsea, Bayern Munich are sniffing around as well for the signing of Ugarte. They're at it as well, They're at it as well. They're out signing everybody that anybody else is linked to. They just can't leave well enough alone. Pick your own targets. Go after all of them. Don't go signing our business. But it is what it is. Clubs are desperate, and Bayern, failed to win Bundesliga last year. What better way than to get yourselves back on top by making the statement summer transfer window? It's the best way to answer your critics. Of course, we also got Maguire. Maguire is up for sale. He has allegedly got offers or interest, not offers, interest suitors that might be happy to sign him from Italy. So we'll discuss that. Rashford, again, discussions with PSG. Will they pull the trigger and go for it? We've had reports saying they're not interested. We've had other reports saying PSG are waiting for Manchester United to give the green light to PSG to begin talks there, if they do, of course, show a willingness or strong enough willingness to sell the player. And then a little bit of non-United news, a little bit. But a Manchester United centre-back target in Todibo being linked to a West Ham move. Now, of course, that's going to go down quite sourly in the Man United fan base, given that it's a player that we want. But we can't sign him because UEFA said so. That sucks, doesn't it? UEFA picking and choosing. Yeah, you guys can sign him. You can't. You can't sign him. Everybody else can sign. No matter what it is. You guys, no diabito, no cookie for you, no Todibo for you. And then, of course, breaking in the off-field front, Dan Ashworth arrives at long last, compensation paid off, less than 10 million, significantly less, confirmed, significantly less than the 20 million that Newcastle asked for, and apparently less than 10. So a good deal, a very good deal, well orchestrated by Manchester United and Ineos. And then following him, the immediate appointment of Chris Vivell as the short term may serve for longer, but for now, short term head of recruitment, the director of recruitment. So we got the sporting director, the technical director sorted, and now we've got the head of recruitment, who was essentially, Dan Ashworth walked into his office and said, right, I like a head of recruitment, let me give me a phone call. Called Christopher Vivell, and literally within hours was already on the way to Manchester. Like that simple. So yeah, and then we'll wrap things up as well with a little bit of Old Trafford news. That the player tunnel's getting a makeover. So we'll go through some of the comments first before we start with things. 11 subscribers away from 200. Yes, people, get subbing. Get subbing. If you haven't subbed already, sub now. Do it now. Otherwise, you'll be cursed with your club signing Rashford, McTominay, and Harry Maguire. And Phil Jones. He'll come out of retirement and sign for your club. Big ups to Eugenio. Hellos. Yes, hello to Eugenio. Hope all is well with you. Bayern are finished. Well, they insist that they're not with their actions, their desperation, signing as many players as they can get their hands on. Will it prove successful? We'll have to see in the following season. Forward likes, good stuff. Keep it coming, people. Keep it moving. Bayern more washed than United. I wouldn't go as far as that. At least with United's case, they're trying to do something about it. So there is always that positive to take it. Imagine telling someone this time last year Vincent Kompany would be Eric Dyer's next manager. You'd expect Dyer to be joining a relegated Burnley side stuck halfway down the Championship by Christmas. Yeah, funny how that works. Funny how football works. McTominay to Arsenal. I'd do anything to prevent it. Sorry, I meant McShite. Yeah, there's a more plausible correction there. But let us begin. Let us begin. So, Matthias de Ligt, of course, the name on everyone's tongues right now in the Manchester United fan base. So hot off the press that and a hot commodity, allegedly a hot commodity. We're seeing Bayern Munich fans, the Bayern faithful, starting petitions outreaching to the club's hierarchy, demanding that they do not sell the player. What does that mean? What does that mean? Let me know what you guys think about what that perhaps is trying to say. What kind of message does that tell you? What kind of message it tells me is that Bayern Munich fans are not necessarily done with de Ligt. Because usually, if a player is very willingly happy to be sold, club are not, they're not standing in the way, they're not really, they're happy to let him go. And then the fans would probably say, well, as long as you get a good deal for him, then happy days, will accept the sale and reinvest that money somewhere else. Get a replacement target, that's good enough. But it doesn't feel like that at the moment. Of course, we'll talk about it with Ben Jacobs on his report that Manchester United are now in formal talks with Bayern Munich over Matthias de Ligt. Initial discussions framed around a €40 million package. De Ligt open to the move, and the overall cost of the deal is lower than United anticipated when de Ligt first came under consideration in March, which of course, initial considerations, they were talking perhaps about £60 million. I think it was £60 million price deal. Which of course that has definitely diminished. The value has diminished over time, which of course the lower it gets, the better. The latest was talking about a €42 million 42 million. I think it was euros or pounds, so it's one of the two, but 42 million thereabouts as a upfront payment with potentials for add-ons. Now, that sort of news got some United fans talking, saying, "Yeah, we're probably going to get ripped off if we take that deal. Maybe if it was just 42 million on its own, maybe that's acceptable. But think about what the rest of the deal brings to the table. Is it 42 million pounds well spent? Is the damning question for Manchester United. And I think, would it be well spent? I think on the precipice that he doesn't get injured, and that he performs consistently with enough game time in the team, then I think that the 42 million pounds would be more than enough to be a valid transfer fee to get for him. But that's talking on the basis that we have foresight, the power of foresight, that we see great value in signing a player for that amount. But equally, it could go just as horribly wrong. 42 million, stick him on about 250k a week, trying to just level the wages that he was currently earning at Bayern. That's going to be a big question mark, is how much we'll negotiate on the wages. I think if we can get anything less, if we can get significantly less on the wages than what Bayern are paying him, because I think Bayern are sort of quite trigger happy with the wages at the moment. I think if Man United can get a pay cut on those wages, it will make the deal a lot more worth doing, because you sign a bit of quality in there as well. But you sign a bit of a quality, a little bit of experience now. But the only real question mark about De Ligt is just he's become a bit of a journeyman, or that sort of like hot prospect when he left Ajax, and now he's sort of like the unwanted child, and they're just passing him around the adoption centres, and nobody will take him because they keep kicking him out because no families would want to take him. It sort of feels a bit like that with Matthias de Ligt at the moment. Sorry, Matthias de Ligt, you're a bit of a bastard child. Nobody wants you. But Manchester United are the all-loving family. We're none of that fake bullshit Arsenal. We're family. We're family, guys. We're Manchester United family. But yeah, we seem to be imposing as more like the disciplinarian parents that are armed to the fucking back teeth with all weapons of mass destruction for the instance of disciplining the child. Borderline child abuse, shall we say. But hopefully for De Ligt's case, that if this does end up being the jump in De Ligt's career that gets things kick-started again, that perhaps it ends, that it has a happy ending to it, because with the deal length, we're talking maybe about 5 years. Word has it, it's about 5 years that they're prepared to offer him. Whether that means that in the instance that Bayern pay off the remaining wages, just so that it compensates the player to then him being happier to accept a more significant wage cut at Manchester United. And I think if you've got master negotiators, that getting the price down with the club is one thing, but also getting the player to be joining for the sake of the project and getting his career looking on the up again. I think having that be your focus is a lot more valuable than trying to upkeep your wages as high as possible. Meanwhile, you're essentially being passed around Europe like a peace pipe, and more clubs no longer want you once you've been there for like 1 to 2 years. I mean, De Ligt's not that old. Funny thing is that Lisandro Martinez is actually younger. No, he's older. He's older. Martinez is older than Matthias de Ligt. So, he's already sort of ridden the highs and he's riding a low, and he's practically scraping their 25 years of age, I'm pretty sure. So I mean that's just crazy on its own to think about. I just confirm that, yeah, scraping on 25. He's at the moment 24. The fucker is younger than me. He's younger than me, and he's already bloody gone through the highs and lows of a football career. So yeah, listen, good player. He's got good quality to him, but whether Man United can be the club where he shines, that he rediscovers form, ability, and finds a new high to his career, like a resurrection, before it really goes astray, then yeah, I think it's a deal to get behind. But we want to make sure, we do want to make sure that we are absolutely getting fair deal for the player. Fair deal. We don't want to pay too much on the fee, and we certainly don't want to pay too much on the wages. If we can tick both of those boxes, then I will happily welcome Matthias de Ligt into Manchester United. Of course, injury concerns, the fitness, I think it's like three knee ligaments or three like separate knee injuries that he's had in like the past year or two. Whether that's going to be a feat or not, we'll have to see. But with what Ben Jacobs has said there about €40 million package, I mean that if we'd sign Matthias de Ligt for 40 million, I mean Jesus, that is a very good deal. Very good deal, regardless of what people think about Matthias de Ligt. That's a very good deal. For somebody that will probably, with all intents and purposes, have a very similar impact to Maguire, with the ability to do significantly better than Harry Maguire, to sign him for half, well, less than half that we'd spent on Harry Maguire, and to stick him on similar wages, if not less. I mean, Jesus, we're talking about selling Maguire as well, which I'm sure we'll get to in a moment or two. De Ligt is a good player, but his Ajax days are done and dusted. Big money move to Juve, and he flopped. Another big money move to Bayern, flopped again. I think he did better at Bayern, but De Ligt just became another furniture piece at Juve. But yeah, he does need to like liven his career up a bit again. Bayern have Kim and Jae, who's been there only a year. Ito and Dyer have only been there permanent signings a few days ago. Plus Upamecano and De Ligt. Do they need 5 centre halves? And that's the problem with Bayern or various clubs around Europe, is that if you want De Ligt or a player like De Ligt to really be put like a diamond in the rough, put the diamond on, or put the piece of coal under pressure, you're trying to test it, trying to see if you can get the diamond out of it. Matthias de Ligt, I feel like, needs the pressure, needs to be showcased on a very big stage, but needs to be the front and centre piece, because he needs to be pushed. And I think with Manchester United calling, I think him and his agent have got to realise that this is the time where Matthias de Ligt can push himself and revitalise his career, find new heights, and become a top level class centre back. Whether we call him world class, I think that there's only potential for world class back in his Ajax days. I don't really think he's got the trajectory to ever hit world class at any point now, but trying to salvage to get the best that we can get out of him. I think the challenge is set. The challenge is set. Make the move to Man United, and work to prove yourself. The stage is there, and it'll be time to prove yourself. And it's a higher end signing, higher profile, we should say, a higher profile signing to make. And Man United, you'll be it's a little bit ballsy, Little bit ballsy, but why not? Absolutely, why not? Plus, another thing with Bayern is that when you become another player, and this is it's the same concern that I have for Michael Elise at Bayern. Think about how many other players are in that team, similar level, if not better quality. Where does Elise's game time come from? Unless he's really going to prove himself and start benching guys like Nabry, Sane. Don't think Mane's there anymore. I think he's gone to Saudi Arabia, hasn't he? But benching some like Kingsley Coman, you're benching some big names to get yourself inserted into that team. Musiala, if you want to play more centrally, and if Thomas Muller's there as well, you benching the experience of Thomas Muller. I don't know. So Michael Elise, you sir have got your work cut out for you. Best of luck though. And they're interested in Jonathan Tah as well, and that's probably why we can bargain, because I can't imagine that Bayern would pay an extortionate fee for Jonathan Tah. At the same time, we will say, well, we'll pay you a fee that's representative to the value of the player. Plus, not only that, we'll also, it benefits you that you get some money if you do the deal now. It almost funds the replacement signing in Jonathan Tah. So if I'm Bayern, I'm thinking about that, because I'm spending a lot of money to sign loads and loads of players, and if I'm sending somebody out the door in the same department, well, there's a three-way deal right there. Secure the funds with the sale of a player we don't want, while securing another one that we do. Happy days. Obviously, he's going to get injured. This Matthews that we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, everybody's bound to get injured. Even, like pretty much everybody that we'd sign could get injured. Marko Arnautovic is one of the biggest forwards in history. How the fuck does one miss that chance? I don't know. Ask Danny Welbeck. He was a master of that. I rate Matthijs de Ligt. I genuinely feel bad for him with all his injuries, but he'll be available for 15, 20 games next season maximum, and so will Martinez another year. Maguire, Evans. Well, I mean, Maguire probably will be out the door, and we want to sign another centre-back as well. We don't want to stop at just one. We want to sign two, which means that if Victor Lindelof or Maguire goes, that it solidifies the second centre-back signing, that you have to sign another player. So whether that will be Todibo or could be somebody else, Inacio from Sporting, as just another name thrown into the hat, into the ring. We'll have to see. This is what I like about what Ineos are doing with their approach this summer. This is what I like about it. It's not the old regime, in the sense that you pick a target, there's your priority, you work. Don't get a breakthrough, target goes and signs for somebody else. Oh, don't worry, guys. We'll now start working on the next target. Ineos have decided, no, we're going to write down about 6, 7, 8 names. All of them are going to have the door opened of negotiations from the get-go. So there are probably about 8, for just the centre-backs alone, there are probably about 7 or 8 names that Manchester United can just talk to like that, and have probably already said to their clubs, we're interested in this player. Watch this space. We're prioritising some other bits, but we'll be coming to speak to you about this player. And of course, clubs are interested. They're interested. What have you got to offer me for this player then? And that's what I like about what Ineos are doing. They're literally they're spinning all the wheels in motion. There's not just one or two, trying to do one and then spin the next one, then spin the next one. They're trying to do all of it at the same time. And with the amount of business that we've seen being done recently, I mean, the coaching recruitments with Ruud van Nistelrooy and Hake coming in to join Ten Hag's coaching staff, then compensating on the Dan Ashworth fee, which Newcastle had to give up their end of the bargain. They had to I'm trying to think of the word. They had to compromise. Newcastle had to compromise. Manchester United won. They won that. I just outright won. So, that already Ineos have, they've, and not only that, they've sort of, doubled down on it, which we'll get to in a second, in a moment or two. Joshua Zirkzee, there is supposedly talks with the agent being the biggest stumbling block in this deal. I think the same story with AC Milan, demanding about 12 million agent wage or an agent fee just for the signing of the player. Of course, July 1st has been and gone. The clause, £34 million release clause of Joshua Zirkzee is now triggerable. Manchester United will definitely be opting to trigger that release clause. It's just getting all the aspects of the player side, agent side agreed, handshakes all around before we start to see the clauses getting triggered. We all know that Manchester United intend to trigger the release clause because Bologna, let's be real, it's a Premier League club. Bologna would just sit there and say, well, actually, if it wasn't for a release clause, we'd probably demand around about 50 million, probably 45 to 50 million pounds for Joshua Zirkzee. Like, we will fleece you. We will fleece you for Zirkzee. Well, that release clause has to stop that from happening. And Zirkzee is now interested. He's absolutely focused and prioritising the move to Man United. So happy days, the player wants to come. We seem to have ticked the boxes for his agent, and word has it that the agreements are practically there or thereabouts in place to give the final go ahead, and by which point we'll probably have the Romano here we go. Whether that means that Zirkzee will sign officially before the Netherlands Euros campaign comes to an end, because he did also state, as on the player side, he did also state that he would wait until the Euros are done for the Netherlands before he really decides on anything. But he's probably been convinced. I think Ten Hag has already contacted him and the agent and has sold the project as to what Zirkzee's role in the team will be. He's convinced by that. He's happy with that. He likes what he's heard, and now it's the case of everybody else, getting moving along with things. And if Zirkzee absolutely locks in to say, "Yeah, Manchester United, that's the place we'll go," I think before the Netherlands Euros campaign comes to an end, we can get the deal done. So essentially, as it stands, two Dutch players on international duty. Both of those players we could have signed by the end of this week, depending on how direct and speedily the negotiations go. If we are ticking all the boxes we need to tick, we could have Zirkzee here we go easily before next weekend. If we have got the if we have essentially got the agent side of things agreed, because of course, as I've already said, agent fee seems to be the biggest stumbling block for this deal. I think once we've got the compromise there, we will have a very, very, very clean run at the striker signing. And then once we sign the striker, then the focus becomes elsewhere. Centre back, we're on the cusp of signing De Ligt. That is it just needs an agreement essentially with just need the agreement with Bayern in the structure of the deal, which I'm sure we'll get to quite quickly. I'm sure we'll get that resolved fairly soon. And after we get that resolved, then I'm sure that again, player side, agent side, that's all already agreed. So he's happy for us to do the deal with Bayern to sign him. And that's if with De Ligt, of course, that is if PSG don't decide to jump in and snag that deal last second, because they have registered interest also with Matthias De Ligt. Of course, at the moment, they've only just expressed an interest to sign him. Now, whether PSG would want to go all out guns ho, full on gun ho. Yeah, we're going to take him. We're going to take him. Here's 300k a week. Yeah, I doubt PSG will have the resolve to do that. I doubt they would. They're trying to sign other players for big money already. So yeah, I don't buy that PSG would quite do what Manchester United of old might have done. Manchester United of old might have gone and stuck about 300k a week on the table. But Xerxes, very, very close. Looking like we are 99. It does feel like that right now. It does feel like we're 99% of the way there with Joshua Xerxes. Big up Fuzzy Gump, just seeing your bag of shrimps, £5 a bag in Morrison's. I never would fucking price my shrimp at £5 a bag. Never. I'd charge you 10. Profits. I've got my own PSR to adhere to. And you little sucker, can buy them for £10. And just because your name is Anthony Herbert, I'm adding Anthony Herbert tax. It's £15. So swivel on that one, Anthony. But in other news, big ups to you. Of course. And people in the chat, harass this guy to start a channel. Harass him. Get him starting a channel across this summer, just in time for the new season. Whether it's just uploading tractor compilations, whether it's uploading Arsenal content, maybe he's uploading animal content for on behalf of Arsenal. They might need an animal content creator. They might turn him into a furry, dress him up in furry outfits to represent Win the Dog and the Dog's campaign to the Animal Kingdom's Premier League title success. Because God only knows that Arsenal can do it in real life with the actual Premier League. Just get Anthony Herbert dressed up as a dog. Marketing campaign 101 Arsenal Football Club 2024. But yeah, Robin Bastard. It's fair's game. Fair game. You know, we're all struggling out here, Anthony. We're all struggling. God blimey. Now, speaking of bigger signings, Manuel Ugarte. Of course, Manuel Ugarte as another player that the publishers have said, hey guys, green light over in this sector. Whether this is a player that fans want, I think is initially split some of the opinions on it. I think with Manuel Ugarte, he's like, if I were to make a comparison for a type of player, I'd say he's got like a work rate similar to that of what a Lucas Torreira had when he first joined Arsenal. Like slightly bigger build, but just really mobile, good agility to him, a ridiculous engine tank on him, and very, very involved with defensive contributions. Very, very involved. And I think for somebody that statistically at PSG in the French league that's got that much better stats than players that are in defending teams, that to me says this guy is one that gets slept on too much. Like really, really gets slept on too much. And of course, he needs to tell people to get off of him, because why would you accept having someone sleeping on you? It's a little bit weird, to be honest. You shouldn't really have people sleeping on you. But your work on the pitch is not really truly recognised. And I think being that sort of player is like what you call the unsung hero. We used to talk about Michael Carrick in the Man United teams being the unsung hero. Jason Park, the unsung hero. He's not statistically the best. He's not He's not this most technically gifted player, but when you watched football, you never realised the gruffy tough part of the game, the rough tough part of the game. The player that was always in there getting their elbows bloodied and dirtied was players like your Jason Parks and your Michael Carricks and other players like that. Lisandro Martinez currently is that sort of player at centre back, but we notice it. We notice all of his capabilities at centre back, so he gets all the heroic praise. But Manuel Ugarte, I mean, Jesus Christ, you've got a beast at centre back at Lisandro Martinez that's ready to bloody kill a man. Then you have a defensive midfielder in front of him ready to kill a man, Manuel Ugarte. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're signing some warriors for that spine. That team is getting some proper warriors, warrior type characters. And I think it's a deal we absolutely should explore doing. We should be, we of course we definitely need a defensive midfielder, of course, with the looming, the ever likeling, or the ever growing likelihoods that Casemiro will be leaving for Saudi Arabia. We do need somebody to come in to replace him. We do. We need somebody to come in and replace him. For me, I think with this deal, again, we come back to the finance side of things. How much are we paying? How much is the deal? Now, people are saying about 50 million euros, I think, was a initial negotiating target to try and get his deal down to 50 million euros. I think it was about 50 million pounds that PSG initially bought him for. And I think, of course, PSG will want to recuperate some of that money. But I think, again, like I may have stated previously, I feel like there's a chance for United to sort of talk PSG into going and signing certain other players, whilst then saying, well, we'll compensate you with some of that money, a little bit of that money, by if we sign this player, we know that he's guaranteed to leave. The question is just where will he go? Now, there is a question mark about where he goes. Of course, Man United is the most likely destination. However, Bayern Munich are sniffing around. And, of course, with Bayern Munich being in there, there's probably going to be a lot of convincing needed. Conviction is needed to get the signing of Ugarte across the line, I think. If Bayern start properly pushing and opening negotiations, and who knows, maybe Ugarte goes one way and De Ligt ends up going the other. They could just find a compromise and work a swap deal. They could legitimately do something like that, and wage differentiation probably won't be as big of a blow for respective clubs, or for PSG's case, so they could end up doing something where Manchester United are just locked out entirely, which obviously would be a very, very much close to worst case scenario with both of our midfield and defensive targets, which we don't want. We don't want that. That would be terrible. Please don't do that. But nonetheless, who knows? We might be able to get it across the line. We might be able to get it done. Here's to hoping that we can do it, because I do want Manuel Ugarte at Manchester United. Cheers, Anthony. I do want him at Manchester United, and I think he would prove to be a good signing. I think he would prove to be a good signing. Of course, De Ligt is a question mark. Xerxes, personally, I think is a bit of a question mark. I still think a bit of a journeyman type player, and whether he's got the proven track record, I think still yet to be seen. Being at this level the last time, he didn't deliver. So whether he delivered this time, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the level is. Now, of course, Maguire, we've spoken about it. Maguire, very, very briefly, of course, up for sale. The word has it that he's up for sale. Now, between Maguire and Lindelof, of course, Lindelof at the moment has got more interest of clubs actually putting forth bids and offers, most specifically from Turkey, which is not a lot of fun when you're a club trying to sell a player for good value. Not a lot of fun whatsoever. However, Maguire, once you put him on the market, clubs in Italy. Now, they're not named, at least not to my knowledge. They might have been named, but from what I've seen thus far, not named yet, unofficially named. Well, not even named at all. So I can't even say unofficially, but you get the gist of it. Maguire's generating interest from the Italian league, from Serie A. I think that's the sort of league that he could do some good stuff in. I think so. I think not a lot of pace to play against, a slow play style of league. I think it's a bit more in his comfort zone. And I think with Italian clubs, what fee are we talking about? I'm thinking they'll probably look at 30 million upwards for Harry Maguire. Do Italian clubs have that sort of money? I think there are some that do. And I think a club like a Napoli might be intrigued by this deal. Napoli, I wouldn't have said AC Milan, possibly Inter Milan, possibly. Maybe Lazio, and maybe Roma. I think those three clubs: Napoli, Roma, and Inter Milan. I think it would be those three clubs. I would say probably not Juve or Lazio, because they're more focused on trying to secure the signings for Greenwood / Sancho. Those are the sort of players that they're interested in. So I wouldn't say they are the focal points for any of the other clubs. Neither, vice versa. I don't think Lazio or Juve are after any centre backs per se. I think 30 million is a fair and accurate fee. Personally, I think it might be pushing it a bit. But I think with Ineos, they probably can negotiate that. They could probably get that deal done across the line. Whether his wages now, I think the big question mark will always be his wages, and I think Italian clubs are quite renowned for not paying extortionate wages. Nowhere near quite the level of the Turkish league, because for some reason every single player they can sign on planet Earth will be for less than £10 million. I'm convinced of it. They're banned. Those Turkish clubs are banned for spending more than £10 million on a single player. But yeah, that's just them. But yeah, I think can we sell Maguire? Absolutely. Should we sell Maguire? Is the question. Personally, I believe so. Yeah. I don't think that he is quite Manchester United quality. If we're a club that talks about wanting trophies, winning trophies, we need a squad that's got the quality we can build upon and go up levels with. And Maguire, we've seen that we can't go up levels with him in various environments. So I think the sooner we can cash in on him, the better. Get some money for him at the very least, because I think his contract is set to expire next summer. There is the option to increase the deal by 1 year to extend the contract, which of course would preserve value. That means that would end up, if we can't sell him this window, would more than likely sell him the following window, just for the sake of getting some money for Harry Maguire. Scott McTominay's in a similar situation, by the way. But then again, selling Scott McTominay would be a fantastic way to tick off PSR, because it's a way around it. Pure profit. Sell him for about 30 million, Hey, guess what? Manchester United have just made 30 million pure profit. Complete and pure profit. Thank you very much, PSR. Tough luck. We'll see you next time. And that's basically how the conversations with PSR will probably go. And a lot of other clubs are doing that as well, by the way, just selling academy players for the sake of pure profit, just so that it literally just it skewers the figures on the PSR spreadsheets. They're looking at the numbers, they're just like, oh, for fuck's sakes. We're expecting them to be trying to re-endorse value from players that they purchased. Nope, they just sell academy players in this, like established academy players in the first team. Oh, for God's sake, seriously. That's why Chelsea want to sell Conor Gallagher, PSR related. Newcastle sold Anderson, PSR related. Can't remember who Everton sold, but yeah, again, PSR related. The best way to get around it. Unfortunately, for Man United's case, Maguire is not PSR, but a player who is Marcus Rashford. He is PSR. That is a big cash in on PSR money. Very big cash in. And rumour has it, valued about £80 million. I personally think that's too much because nobody wants him, except maybe PSG and Saudi Arabia. I think with Manchester United, we should be pushing to sell Rashford and not just sell physically, like actually sell the player on the market, but sell the prospect of signing Rashford to a team like PSG, because they've sold Mbappe to Real Madrid. There's your big superstar poster child boy gone out the door to Real Madrid. So there goes, Champions League domination for the next 5 years or so, or 5 to 10 years, I should say. And then on the other side of things, you've got Marcus Rashford. They need to think about, well, who comes in playing on the wing positions, can play up front, who's got a lot of pace and tenacity, and who would eat a lot of these defenders in Liga and Alive. Who's got that? Marcus Rashford has got pace, potential pace in abundance. We know it. We know how fast he is. And I think if you're Marcus Rashford, you're looking at the prospect of moving to PSG and thinking that is the most guaranteed way that I can sort things out in my career. The most guaranteed. Now, whether it would actually result in Rashford finding his form again, I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I don't know how deep the mental rot in Rashford's demeanour goes. I don't know how far that rot runs. But for me, Marcus Rashford, I think 80 million is a bit too much. I don't think we could sell him for that. Maybe at a push 70. You could sell him to PSG for about 70 mil, or maybe you have to compromise to about 60. But solid money. Again, PSR tick those boxes, and happy days. They can bugger off and look somewhere else. PSR, screw PSR, screw the PSR, and stupid rulings and how everyone's getting around it. But we do what we have to do. But yeah, would I sell him? Yes. Do Man United want to sell him? They would rather keep him. The club would rather keep Marcus Rashford because they think that they can get they can get better form out of him, or revitalise him in his career. I don't believe he can, because this is a proper brain rot moment for Rashford. And once it starts rotting like that, you need a fresh start, clean slate. What better way to get the clean slate than to just ditch the previous club, go to a new club, new scenery, new league, new start, right? I think Rashford would suit PSG down to the ground. I do. I think he would suit them down to the ground. So that's where I stand of it. Would you guys sell Rashford? Let me know in the comments. Of course, Todibo, another Man United defensive target, linked to West Ham. Just very quickly want to say that UEFA, very quickly, go screw yourselves, first and foremost. because Man City are going and signing players in a plethora of clubs that are under their City group. Yes, sorry that he was on loan from a French club. He was on loan from a French club in Spain at Girona, went back on loan, or went back from his loan, and Man City went and signed him from the French club. Problem is that both people would have said, "Oh, well, he was only on loan at Girona last season," but at the same time, you know, Man City own the French club as well, and they've just signed a player from the French club, pre-negotiated. They've signed a French player from, well, they've signed a player, Savio, from a French club that they own. So, UEFA, what's the problem with Todibo? What's the problem with that? From what we hear, from what we see, there's some good money that we're going to be putting up on that transfer fee. So it would be legitimate cash going to a legitimate European club, a legitimate entity. What is the problem? Legitimize the deal, and show UEFA. Yeah, these are the be transparent with them. These are the details, the full extent of them. Here are the contracts. The players have read them. Agents have read them. Here are their signatures, and the players can also then verify. Yeah, that's legit. We signed that, and then the courts go, okay, well, fair enough. It's a legit transfer. Happy days. UEFA analysed and greenlit the deal. That's what I think. Of course, that's probably not how football works, but that's how it unfolds in my mind at the very least. But West Ham are interested, of course you are. Whether West Ham will be happy to table somewhere upwards of 35 to 40 million for him at the very least, I think is yet to be seen. Could they do it? Absolutely. I think West Ham have got the money, the funds to do that. Also, congratulations to Turkey on moving through to the next round. Austria are out of the Euros. Wreck-It Ralph Ball is dead. No, never mind. But anywho, who scored for them? Oh, Demirol again, assisted by Gula. Damn. Hala Madrid. There's another Madrid youngster pulling, carrying hopes and dreams all around Europe. And in the rest of the world, of course, after that. But it is what it is. Tough luck, Austria. Dark horses being murdered. So, yeah, Todibo to West Ham. Watch this space. We'll see how genuine the interest from West Ham is. Of course, it goes against the grade. They're signing somebody who is young. They are signing somebody who's young. My word, I mean, Jesus Christ, West Ham. Are you guys okay? Are you feeling all right? But yeah, looks like it could be heading that way, to be fair. But hopefully, if UEFA can be bothered, or we can be bothered enough, hopefully we can steer UEFA into our favour and sort us out that deal. Get us the signing of Todibo as the second centre-back signing. Todibo and de Ligt as centre-back signings in one summer. That's all right. We'll take that. We will take that. Now we move to some off-field changes. Of course, Dan Ashworth finally is here. He's arrived. He's here, and he's beautiful. He is beautiful. But anywho, man, looking at things as they stand, what a turn around from a footballing structure. And I'll read this. I will read you this. Well, I'm not going to read, I'm going to tell you, but you listen, and you listen good. You listen good. Our football structure, from manager to board director, you had Joel Glazer spearheading the football side of things. You had Richard Arnold / Ed Woodward, bankers who were running a football club. No idea what a football club really is or what it takes to run a football club. Below them, John frickin' Murtagh. John frickin' Murtagh. And then below that, you had the manager. We went from that to Jean-Claude Blanc, Sir Dave Brailsford as the head of the INEOS board. Of course, Sergio Ratcliffe is going to be very much involved up there. You've got the incoming Omar Barada, astute with Manchester City's success and building that club into the powerhouse we know it today. He's going to be in the power seat, the hot seat for Man United. Below him, directly serving, Jason Wilcox, previous experience with Omar Barada as well at Manchester City, great at youth development, technical director, knows the ins and outs of a football club and knows exactly how it should be. Dan Ashworth, sporting director, in identifying the best methods at shaping the football club, setting it up for success, for excellency, and for high standards, really, really high standards, and a great talent ID as well. Followed up with that, literally signed the day that he got into office, Christopher Vival, somebody who's he's been around Europe a bit. He has come from Chelsea. Another Ralph Rangnick recommendation, by the way. He recommended him whilst Rangnick was the manager. That guy had belief in Christopher Vival back then. He's here now. And Dan Ashworth signed him on the spot. So, yeah. And he's well rehearsed in the German game as well. Very, very well rehearsed. Recruitment director. Short term, but quite possibly may extend further dependent on how everything in the summer goes. Because you never know. They might say, well, Christopher, as head of as director of recruitment, you did okay, but we think that there's better that could have been done there. Thank you for your efforts and thank you for trying. We appreciate your efforts, but we're going to go with somebody better. They're opening that door already. Literally, INEOS are already thinking about if that guy's going to be good enough. Let's keep the door open and prepare to have to change it if we have to already, if things don't quite go quite to the level that they're hoping for. They're already preparing for phase 2. The real phases, not phases for PR and BS, real phases, the phases that they don't sit in a press conference room and start singing Disney songs to everybody. None of that. No making love to light bulbs by shoving them up your ass and then, talking about, dogs or horses or your journey to work, or conquering your wife. We don't need to know that, But, none of that. Just straight up doing your job on the lowdown, getting what needs to be done and dusted. Done and out the way, happy days. Can't have any more complaints than that. And if he does a good job, you're more than welcome to stay. And the fact is that Christopher Vival was being linked to the Newcastle job. He was being linked to a Newcastle position. He was about to go to Newcastle, from what I've heard. He was about to go to Newcastle. Dan Ashworth picked up the phone within hours. Within the hour, his mind was made up. See you guys. I'm off to Man United. Sorry, Mama Flossie. Who's that team you call United? Definitely not that. Not the black and white one. Definitely not the black and white one. But yeah. Sorry, Mama Flossie. We've derailed a few things. We've derailed a few things for Newcastle this summer already. Long may it continue, though. Long may it continue. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this train steaming, full steam ahead. We love it. But yes, Dan Ashworth finally here at long last. Very, very good compensation. Very good compensation. Apparently, it's not confirmed, and it won't ever be confirmed. But from privy sources, from other people's mouths, apparently 8 million was the payoff, which is £12 million less than what Newcastle were going to sit there and say, "Oh, poor Man United, poor Man United. Look at your target sitting there on garden leave for 18 months. Oh, poor you." And then the financial quarters turned again, and they're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, so fine. We'll give you what you want. We'll give you what you want." And then, yeah. Listen, Newcastle, you may have won many battles, but the bigger Man United, the real United, will always win the war. Never forget your place, peasants. I'm just kidding. I'm not, but I am at the same time. I'm not really. But we love it. We are here for it. We are absolutely here from it. We'll wrap things up with on the show with a little bit of stadium news. They're fixing up holes at Old Trafford. They're fixing up holes. You know, a really big gaping hole. Really big gaping hole. Super wide, super open. You know, stands spread far apart. It's the player tunnel. They're fixing up the player tunnel, right? So, rumor has it that it was really, really wet. It was really, really wet. But they're fixing it up. They're changing, they're renovating, they're giving it a new lease of life. And I think it's one of those where changing the design of the player tunnel to give it a more sort of a competitive, a fiery competitive feel. It's all, I think, moves that are to play on the psyche. Player psyche, I think, is a big focus point for Ineos, and getting brains engaged at the club, which is it's a good thing to do. It is a good thing to do, because that's that's what winning is about. You know, he's being engaged mentally for the long fight, and if your players aren't engaged, you know, what are you doing this for? You know, why are you competing? And Manchester United, it's meant to be the best of the best. You know, you need to psychologically drill your players in ways that have them prepared for absolutely everything. You know, but not just be prepared from a coaching standpoint where they're prepared, on the training pitch to the actual match day weekends or match midweek nights in European competitions, but actually in just every walk of life, inside football, outside football, just wanting it, just desperate. That game at Old Trafford, my performance, I didn't have the desired impact that I wanted. I'm going in first thing tomorrow morning before anybody else gets there, and I'm absolutely busting my ass. I want that sort of mentality, and I think Ineos wants it too. Ineos wants that sort of mentality from its players. Players that want to get in there, that want to fight each other to be the best at that club. Not physically like punching each other up. I mean, that might be great to watch for just like one training session, but then it'll have to stop because otherwise we won't have any people able to play. But people that like the old Sir Alex teams of old, like players that were, that understood everything about being a Manchester United player from sunrise to sunset. From every every way in which they conduct themselves. You know, whether that be in the state of humble nature, whether that be, you get the cocky, arrogant kid that comes from the academy, joins the first team session. Your first teamers are bullying the absolute fuck out of the kid and are just like, yeah, you want to be with us. Yeah, you've got to earn your keep. And it's got to be the same thing for everybody else as well. You don't just sign for Man United and then happy days, you're a player and that's it. You sign to Manchester United because you deserve it. You deserve to sign for Manchester United. You deserve the opportunity to play for Manchester United. You deserve the chance to put your career in the spotlight, in headlights, on billboards, plaster your career everywhere, right? For all the right reasons. Hold the front page, hold the back page. You signed for Man United, you pushed yourself, and you achieved special things. That's the bread and butter of a Man United player. And we've lost our way for a very, very long time. And if we want to get it back, of course you need to do the very, very big, brutal, harsh changes. By all means, you got to do that. But there's also the little things, and all the little things, they do add up. They always do. The little things will always add up. And at the end of the day, the bigger picture, right, with all the little things, it will build that. It will build up to something quite simply spectacular. And I believe that Manchester United can do it. And if Ineos are looking at all the smaller things as well as the big changes, if they're looking at all the small details as well, they're on to something. They are on to something. Can it go wrong? Of course it can. But the intent is exactly what we'd say that the head and the heart are both in the right place with Ineos. And that is something that we were terrified as fans. We were terrified of it. Ineos would come in, they'd sell us this dream. Oh yeah, we're here to make Manchester United. We're here to put the Manchester back into Manchester United. Word had it from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That's what he's going to do. We feared that it was Glazer 2.0. I believed it would be Glazer 2.0. So far, it has not shown that hand. So far, it hasn't shown that hand. It could still. But so far, with all the decisions we've seen made thus far, it has been the polar opposite. Complete opposite. Joel and Avram probably sat there like, look at all of the decisions they're making. I would never have thought of that. You're right. You would never have thought about it because you wouldn't have backed it. But you've not, for all the decisions that you never backed, you're seeing somebody who does back and make them, and you're going to see them reap the rewards. So sit back and watch and get an education. Being hands-off owners for the longest time, having a title that makes you involved. No, you're now learning and how someone's building a club from the rebels. So, learn it if you can be bothered, if you're intelligent enough to. That's where we are with the Glazers. But yeah, all the little things. So, but yeah, it's all looking good, guys. It is all looking good. Getting better with every passing day, it feels like, and we're happy with that. Absolutely happy with that. Of course, Orte Bayendir are our backup goalkeeper that's not played a minute of his life at Manchester United through to the quarterfinals. So big ups to him. Well done to Orte Bayendir. But yes, anyways, guys, we'll call it a day there. I haven't had anything else breaking during the time that we've been live, so thankfully it gives us a breather. Until next time, what will next time be? Well, tomorrow at about 8:30 p.m. we'll have episode 24, a penultimate episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which shall it shall bring a conclusive close to the season for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I know it was only around for half a season, but it definitely felt like it's been has been going for longer. But we're going to call it a break for the summer, and then we'll recuperate essentially for episode 1, but season 2. We'll have season 2 for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and it's going to be quiz night. Yeah, I had a bit of a little bit of a test run, and let's be honest, both competitors thus far absolutely sucked. That's namely moi and, of course, Anthony Herbert. This bastard here. So we will be doing battle tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, episode 24, 8:30 p.m. Make sure that you tune in for that and show your support. We will be live from this channel as well, so if you do not know where to go, you can always tune in over here and catch us on that show. Alternatively, there is Early Doors Football TV, who will be the mediator for that quiz. He is the quiz master, but of course he'll be streaming from his channel also. So make sure you go subscribe to Early Doors Football TV. Of course, big ups to him. And that would draw a close to season 1, half a season of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And here's looking forward to season 2. Season 2 is going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger, guys. And so, yes, hopefully everybody will be looking forward to that. Of course, thank you to everybody that's tuned in for this show. Appreciate all love and support that has been shown. Big ups to everybody that's liked, and also big ups to the 190th subscriber as well. So we are 10 away from 200. If we can do that, if we can hit the target, that would be magnifique. So yes, and also big thank you to everybody that does also subscribe. Between now and 200, you'll be very much MVPs and very much loved on this channel. So a big thank you to everybody that will do that. That's it from me for tonight. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed, and back tomorrow 8:30 p.m. as I said, for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly quiz night, penultimate episode. And hopefully we'll see you over there. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday nights, and here's to a promising Wednesday. I'm gonna down the rest of my chalky milk and head off to bed, because early start with work tomorrow. So yes, once again, thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you again soon. Take care.